is down there in the link in the description. That is where you can actually keep up to date with all of the players that were mentioned tonight, all 12. Technically, it's 13 players that we are mentioning tonight because we're also going to talk about a player who's actually come back to the under 23s as well. And of course, we'll be interacting with you in a live chat. So it's just me tonight, and we're going to be talking about all 12 players that potentially that might have a future, they might not have a future at Newcastle. We'll have to see what you guys say in the live chat. Right, now, what we're going to do is basically just start from defence into attack. We're not really going to go in order when they left the club. We're just going to go from defence all the way up until attack. And I'd love to know what you think of each player. And I've been having a little play around with the live stream, so we're going to be doing a lot more of them as well. Hopefully get more of the lads involved as well. And there's also going to be a podcast via live stream the next day or two as well. Callum, you alright? Hiya, Harry, you alright? So let's talk about the first player. First of all, is this fella, which is Jamie Sterry. Hey, Lola's upgraded the graphics on the channel. We're hey. So as I mentioned, I've been playing around with the stream and everything as well. So Jamie Sterry. Now, Jamie Sterry, I mean, you look at his age at the moment, he's what, 23? Off the top of my head, he's made 3 appearances so far this season, which was against you Reds, Nottingham Forest, and also the 2 Blackburn games as well this season. Is his future at the club? See, for me, I don't know. I really don't know about Jamie Sterry. I know Paul's not a massive fan of him. I think his future, unfortunately, is away from the club at the moment. I know in the first team was struggling at the moment. If you take Yedlin out, and let's face it, Yedlin's not the greatest defender in the world, and then you've got possibly you'd say Manquillo as a second choice, Sterry's third choice, and if you've got the likes of if you've got the likes of Manquillo and Yedlin ahead of you, that for me tells his own story. That lad, unfortunately, he probably needs a permanent deal away. He's gone back to Crewe. Now, as you can see in the appearances there, he hasn't made any appearances yet for Crewe because he's only just left to go on Crewe. I think their game was postponed because of the snow, so he missed out on making his second debut. But Jamie Sterry, I don't know. I just don't think, unfortunately, that the lad has a future at the club. And I hate saying that with a Geordie, but let's be realistic as well. I think it's time to let Sterry go. He needs to be playing first team football. So Liam, well, unfortunately, I don't think we can sell him. His contract is running down. 23-year-old, and I believe he's championship quality, says Louis. Take a point at Wolves. We're not going to really talk much about Wolves tonight. This is mostly about the under-23s. Now, moving on to the next guy, which is our centre-back, Joseph Yarney, who's had 2 loan spells this season. The centre-back who were brought in from Everton, done all right last season in the under-23s. Big, tall centre-back. Hasn't made any appearances for Newcastle as of yet, including this season, but you went away to Morecambe. If you look at those appearances there, that's 25 appearances. That means he's a regular in the first half of the season for Morecambe. Obviously, centre-back, not expecting to score any goals or assists, and he's just moved to Chesterfield, where they suffered an embarrassing 2-0 defeat on the weekend, and that was against, was it Brinkley or Brockley? I can't remember. I've seen it somewhere, but young. He's 21. Still got a couple of years left on his contract, maybe a year or two. I don't know with Yarney. I think he probably see how he comes back into the pre-season, and then maybe just see how he gets on, because he played at Hull. Kyle wasn't his biggest fan at Hull. However, with Yarney, probably you keep him, see how he develops, see if he's, because look, he's playing regular football. So he is playing regular football at the moment. I know he's just went to Chesterfield, but look at that. Morecambe, 25 games, good standard. Went to Chesterfield, dropped his standard, but he's still playing regular football. And that's all you can ask of these lads, to play regular football. So let us know what you think of Joseph Yarney. Would you keep him, would you not? And he's playing football. I think we should have him for another year as well. Geordie says Yarney's dropped too far for me, even though in the Vanarama National League is competitive, but Chesterfield fighting relegation. Yeah, but he is playing competitive. You'd rather him play some sort of football rather than the under-23s, don't you? Because let's face it, that's all he'd be doing. Newcastle are doing well in the 23s at the moment. Obviously, I know the result tonight against Blythe's reserves. Let's face it, let's not kid ourselves. There'll be an update on the under 23s later on this week. Now, the next man who has suffered massive injury problems, which is our man Liam Gibson, another local lad. Of course, his brother left the club for what's the word I'm looking for? Weird circumstances. why would his brother Lewis leave? You know, he's won the England on one of the tournaments. Liam's obviously just come back from a nightmare. He's been a regular for the under-23s this year at left back. Steady. He's done okay. Needs to stay fit though, and the thing is with Accrington have now taken 3 players from us on loan this season, more than the other 2 later on. But for me, Gibson, again, left back, we're not really blessed. If you take out Paul Dummett, I know I've signed Baraka, of course, for the first team, but Lazar's never going to have a future. We'll talk about him in a minute. And then you're probably looking at Gibson as 4th choice at the club, probably 3rd choice now, because let's face it, Lazar's got no future. Yes, you can say Mankiw can come over there. Yes, you can say Richie can come over there. But naturally, left backs, for me, I would keep Gibson for at least another year. See if he can develop. Because it's really difficult to come into the Premier League when to step in first time. I know Longstaff is one of that we could probably look at and say, look, Longstaff's had a great couple of years out on loan. Obviously, one of the tickers at the bottom explains that. So, injuries, yeah. Let's hope he stays clear of that as well. But for me, I would like to keep Gibson as well. Speaking of that fella as well, this fella, Instagram queen, as I call it, Ashraf Lazar, hasn't made any appearances for Newcastle this season. He's only made, I believe, 4 for the under-23s this campaign. He's just literally joined Sheffield Wednesday on deadline day. Didn't make the squad for Steve Bruce's first game. I know Rolando Aarons did, which we'll touch on him in a moment. But his future, I mean, what is it? What is his future at the minute? You know what I mean? For me, it's rumour that he's on 35 grand a week. That's a lot of money. That is a lot of money. Newcastle will be paying, no shadow of doubt about that. Newcastle will be contributing towards those wages to Sheffield Wednesday. I know Sheffield Wednesday are a massive club in the Championship, but Louis says Lazar needs game time, even if he plays fantastic. I still think Rafa won't sign him. Waste of time for the poor lad, just waiting for a chance never coming. I like him, all the best. Well, Rafa's quite cold, and you've seen it with Jack Colback, you've seen it with Tim Krul, you've seen it with Lazar. It's just one of them things. If he doesn't rate you, he just won't change his mind as well. Look, he's got no future, and he didn't even make the bench, as Geordie is pointing out in the live chat there, so I would release him. The only problem is, though, Geordie, is we can't release him because he's still got, I think it's another 2 or 3 years. I think it's 2 years, correct me if I'm wrong, after when he comes back from Sheffield Wednesday. So it's a bit limbo, you know what I mean? It's rumoured that this calorie deal never went through, and he's got to play football. Stop posing on Instagram, man. It feels like his life is on Instagram at the moment. Get knuckling down, get playing football, get some games with Sheffield Wednesday. And it's funny enough because he could actually be competing against Rolando Aarons on that left flank, believe it or not. Although you might say Lazar could play left back and then you could have Aarons at left midfield. Sheffield Wednesday fans, that'll be an interesting one about that, wouldn't it? Awful signing, and look, Rafa doesn't make many awful signings. You know, he is one of them. Hosler's probably another. Matt Sells is another as well. But because of the restrictions, we can't go out and spend crazy money at the moment as well. So it's a Geordie says Lazar's terrible. Had a couple appearances. Crosses the weekend is really bad as well. And moving on to the guy who recently left to go on a deadline day was this fella, Jacob Murphy. See, with Murphy, you can see there he's made 13 appearances for Newcastle this season. The majority of them coming from the bench. Got 2 assists. It was the Blackburn replay, and it was the Everton away one as well, where he crossed for Rondon. Come off the bench on the weekend for West Brom. Come off the substitute appearance. I think he'll start more games for West Brom. I think he will become a regular, and he'll enjoy it. You'll start. I think he'll become a regular in the winning games. He's obviously Dwight Gale's there as well at the moment. We'll touch on him in a second, but Murphy's another poor signing, and as I know I've just said before that Rafa doesn't make many, but a lot of these are loan players for a reason. A lot of them don't have a future at the club, and that's harsh, I know, but let's be honest, have they? Because Jacob Murphy, he seems like a confidence player, he really does, and when I see him play, I'm like, give him the ball, go past your man, get your head up, you want more from him, and he doesn't offer that. And he could do with scoring some goals as well. I know he's very much a confidence player, but it's a tough one because in an ideal world for me, you guys might feel different, is that he has a great loan spell at West Brom. West Brom come up, they do the deal with Rondon, swap us for Gayle. Newcastle fans, well, Braggy's fans, we'll talk more on Gayle in a minute, would accept that, and maybe they can go and buy not Richie, maybe they can go and buy Murphy. That's for me in an ideal world, because yes, he supports the team. This is his second season. Something's not working. Maybe it's the quality. And speaking of his brother, I know someone's just said in the live chat there that Cardiff fans, Chris, who was up here when we beat him 3-0, he doesn't rate his brother either. So, and his brother's not a starter every week either. 12 million, a lot of money, you know what I mean? This fella was in my brother's class at school. Is Dan Barlaser. Yes, he got red carded against Derby in the FA Cup with which 2 yellows, and he's one of the most bright prospects to come out of the under-23s in recent years. As you can see there, he's got himself a goal. He dedicated that to his late granddad, and 25 appearances. He's a regular for Accrington. Another one of the lads who have gone out there. Yes, he's played for Newcastle in the last 18 months, but this season, of course, he's been out at Accrington. He's played a couple of games for the under-23s. I like the lad. I think he has a future at Newcastle. I think he needs to be playing regular, and it's a good standard. Accrington, they're in League One, aren't they? So for me, he needs to stay at the club, and I think penning him down, even possibly, I know he signed a contract recently, even further, because he's still a young lad. He's still 21. For me, you can do a bit. I know it seems like Longstaff's jumped ahead of him at the moment, but for me, could you imagine in the future, maybe in 3 year time, you've got Longstaff, a North Shields lad, Barlaser, a Gateshead lad, bossing that midfield. It's what you want as fans. You want to see local lads coming through, and again, if he's not going to get game time because it's difficult in the Premier League, get him out on loan. Get him out on loan again next year if it makes him tougher. Because let's face it, he's a skinny lad. You know what I mean? He's playing against men week in, week out. It can only make him bigger and stronger. Get him out on loan again. Get him back at pre-season. See what it's like. Play him in a couple of friendlies. Get him out over to Ireland, because I know no shadow of a doubt the lad will be back over Ireland. See what he's like. Has he improved? Has he toughened up? Can he spray? Can he score goals? Can he get his foot in? We'll have to see how Barlaser goes. But like I say, I'm a fan of his. I would like to keep him at the club because you don't have many local lads, and I think he's got something a bit about him. Maybe add a few more goals to it. But, playing football at a good standard, need to carry that on as well for me. Let us know what you think of Dan Barlaser. Let's actually have a look on the live chat. Nathan says, Barlaser, we should keep him. Harry says, I like the kid. Give him the chance like Longstaff does. But does he play the ref I want him to? I don't know. Barlaser for me quite similar to how Shelby plays and Longstaff plays, and Key, where they want the ball, and then what they do is they look up. They're all quite similar type of players, and you can't have too many of the exact the same because you need a variety. That's why Diarmi plays a lot of the time. Totally different to the rest, doesn't he? Gets his foot in. Dan Barlaser needs a loan next season. We're going to discuss Elias Sorensen, or however you say it. Yes, we're coming on to strikers. We're going position by position, so we've gone from right back, centre back, left back, right midfield. We're in centre midfield now. We're coming as well. So good shout. Yeah, maybe a Scottish Premier League, because we've seen other players in the under-23s play there. Now this fella, let me know what you think of Jack Colback in the live chat. And I don't think anybody's going to be too kind with him. Let's face it, yes, he scored a couple of goals for Forest. He's a free agent in the summer. He's effectively, one of those players in the summer. We know that Jack Colback is no longer a Newcastle player, but officially he is. And you probably think that Newcastle are paying some of his wages to Nottingham Forest, but the quicker summer comes, he gets out of the club, because he's one of those players that Rafa does not rate at all for Jack Colback. He has no future, but we'll put him in the list because he's still technically one of our players. But we know he'll never play for Newcastle, and we know that he'll leave the club officially in the summer. Look, it's when Colback came, had a good first season. The Mackhams were taking the mickey out of, came over, had a good first season, nearly got he actually did get an England call-up, remember? He got the England call-up. Was injured at the start of the season. He scored 3 or 4 goals, but he's a worker, but he could have left the club earlier and fell out with Rafa Benitez, and Benitez said, nah, you can rot the reserves if you're not going to leave. And he's on kind of bit of money. You're talking 30, 35, 40 grand a week. And, when he was at Sunderland, he had a great spell at left back as well. But, yeah, it's one of them that it's never worked out. And it's a shame. Yes, I know he's played for the enemy. I know that. But he's another Geordie. And, there's several people ahead of him. I've just mentioned Barlaser. He's ahead of Colback. Longstaff, another Geordie ahead of him as well. So, yeah, we know that Colback's obviously leaving the club. But Forest fans, you Reds, they love him. They absolutely love Jack Colback, and maybe that's his standard. Let me know. I think he's probably at his standard in the Championship. Some of you are saying that you prefer to him to Hayden. Mm, I'd probably just prefer Hayden, I'm not going to lie. Lost all respect without a club. Sorry, I'll say that again. Callum says lost all of his respect within our club already. Keeping him out on loan for so long just lowers his value massively. Well, he's a free agent, isn't he, effectively? That's what he is now. Colback was a hard worker. Geordie says, I'll never forgive the lad celebrating the way he did. Yeah, when he done this, when he scored against us. Nathan, hello Nathan. Nathan's one of the lads who comes on our fan cams as well. Jack Colback, we should sell him. Well, we can't sell him because he's got no value on him, has he? And then we'll talk about the other guy who's in centre midfield as well. The only player to be playing abroad in this list is this fella, Henri Saivet. Now, the appearances which you can see are just his league appearances. I couldn't get a hold of the cup game, so potentially he might have played more than 15, but I know for a fact he hasn't got any more than one assist and hasn't scored, and he's out on loan at Bursaspor at the moment. And I hate to tell you, if you don't keep an eye on this, if you don't keep an eye on Saivet, he's not actually regular at Bursaspor. He's very much a rotated player, and he starts, he's back on the bench for a couple of games, he starts, he's back on the bench. If you can't be a regular for a mid-table Turkish side, you're never going to make a Premier League side. No matter if you Huddersfield, you wouldn't be. Huddersfield are struggling at the moment. I don't think Henri Saivet would be a regular at Huddersfield. Not for me. But when he came in, he played against West Ham, scored a great free kick, remember? Cost for 2 goals. I know people don't say that, but he did. He gave the ball away when Arnautovic ran on to score, and then in the corner later on, I know we're 1-3-2, but it was his man as well. But Henri Saivet's got another 2 year after he comes back from loan as well, so he's on good money as well, 25 to 30 grand a week. Can't even get in the Senegalese squad anymore. Just don't buy from the League One. Just don't buy from there. He's got no future, and I think he'll only ever be used. And actually, I don't think he will be used because Longstaff's jumped ahead. Saivet is class the lad to have him on backup only on his day. Just doesn't have the confidence with himself, probably due to the fact he's constantly rotated. But Callum, why is he rotated? The Turkish league is probably what the equivalent of the Championship, maybe, if that's being kind to the Turkish league. We've got to try and get him off the books, and I know that's easier said than done, but he's got no future at the club. Unfortunately, it's another poor judgment by Graham Carr, because that was one of his last hurrahs under. Because let's face it, was a Steve McLaren signing? I don't think so. I think it was a Graham Carr one for me. So poor for me, Henri Saivet. And look, his future had a big reputation in France, but his future's away from the club. He's already had 2 or 3 loans out, but not for me. His future's got to go, and we'll keep an eye on him. Don't get me wrong, but it's one of them. He's not good enough for me. League One, says Elf. Let's come across to left midfield, and this fella, Rolando Aarons. Now, he couldn't play for Newcastle because if he played for Newcastle when he come back from Slaven Liberec, he wouldn't be able to go out on loan because FIFA rules state you can't play for 3 clubs in one season. So as I've said earlier on in the live stream, that he come off the bench for Steve Bruce's debut, and they 1-0 away win in the Championship. You come off the bench. I think he will play regular at Sheffield Wednesday because he's exciting. I think he's got talent. It's one of those strange mysteries with Rolando Aarons. Why is he not? Because he burst on the scene too. Yes, he can talk about injuries, but the last 18 months, he's been pretty much injury free. So he's got over that. And it's like, why can't he get into even the bench? I mean, you look at Jose Perez playing right midfield at the minute. I know naturally Aarons is a left winger, but you're playing Perez at right midfield, and that he's keeping out Murphy and he's keeping out Rolando Aarons. I mean, that's something about those 2 players for me. And I like Aarons. He's very talented, raw, still young. I think he's coming up to 23, unless he's already 23 at the minute. 14 appearances for Slaven Liberec. A few of them were substitute appearances, made a game that played it in the cup. 0 assists though. It's a little bit concerning because the Czech Republic League isn't a strong league, but it's great to get him out on loan Sheffield Wednesday. Get him out on loan, get him some games. It's a good stand at the Championship and see how he progresses as well. For me, I'm 50-50 with it. I really am. I like him, but I think what will happen is in pre-season, if he doesn't kick on and he doesn't impress Rafa in pre-season, I think that's it. I think he'll be sold. He could be sold this summer if he doesn't go on and impress. Let's have a look. Harry rates him. I saw him against Man City last year. Yeah, scored, didn't he? Great goal. Aaron's last chance saloon. He's playing for the shite side of Sheffield, says Jordan. Nile Ranger Part 2. I don't think he's as bad. Come on, he's not as bad as Nile Danger Ranger, surely. He's starting to get found out, maybe slightly overrated. Possibly Rory, possibly. But for me, I'm 50-50, but I'll probably, if he came back in the summer, has a good spell at Sheffield Wednesday, because he's only just left on deadline day. See how that goes. Give him a final. Come on, this is your big chance now, impress, because let's face it, we're not blessed with wingers at the club. We're not. If Christian Atsu's playing left midfield, no disrespect to Atsu, however, that's a position that we have to strengthen, possibly on both sides, because you can't rely on Matt Ritchie all the time. I know he works hard, Ritchie, etc., etc. And then we're going to come off that and we're going to move into the number 10, which is Cal Roberts. Now, Cal Roberts has scored 12 goals for the under-23s this season. Fantastic. Him and Sorensen blitzing the under-23 league away, scoring goals, and he plays in that 10. Obviously, he's played the one game for Newcastle, started it against Blackburn, which is a real surprise in that he scored as well from a low cross from Murphy, and he follows it with his weaker foot. Great to see him score. Another North Shields graduate. Got his debut against Colchester. I think he will play games. I know it's League 2, but at least he'll play football there. And he's a free agent. That's only my concern, is that Roberts is a free agent towards the end of the season. He could be released, and is it too early to release him? Maybe get him a 1-year deal, perhaps. I would like to just 1 year and see if he can, and then time down longer if he does progress. So hello 40, you're all right. Roberts in the top 5 that deserve a proper chance within our system, says Callum. Great player, says Louis. Blackburn, good goal, good local lad as well. Cal's got a good head on him, yeah. And needs another loan move next season. Well, that's the thing, Liam. He's got to sign a contract yet. We'll try and get an inside scoop, because we know Johnny is friends with his girlfriend. So we'll see. We'll try and get maybe a source. We won't expose that source. But maybe it will say it's not from Ray. Keep him. All in all, massive potential for me. Yeah, this season he's moved up, hasn't he? Because he's had a couple of loan spells. It was Gateshead, Kilmarnock. Did okay. However, this year in the under-23s, he's literally banging the goals in. Penalty taker, free kick taker, set piece. Goes past players, very pacey. Got a good shot on him as well. And now it's time. I know it's League 2. I know it's a long way from home, down in Colchester and Essex area. But yeah, I would like to see him stay. Because he's hovering around pre-season last summer when he was playing bizarrely out of left back as well. You know, it's one of them as well. So Fordy's asking, what are you asking, Fordy? If you could recruit any YouTuber to your team, who would it be? Are you trying to stir the pot there, Fordy? Fordy, because you're in the live chat, I'll say you, mate. I'll say you. Right, Cal Roberts, we should keep him, give him a chance. I rate him, get him on a 2-year deal. Yeah, he's a good player, and again, it comes back to one of these things that he's a local lad, isn't he? And he's still quite relatively young. He's 21 now, 22. For me, I'd like to see him get him on at least a 12-month contract, and then maybe review it at the end of that. Get him tied down. It's a bit of a worry that he's a free agent. I know Newcastle will get compensation, don't get me wrong. But it is a little bit of a concern that he's a free agent as well. Right, I'm going to have a quick drink out there. Right, moving on to 3 more players. We're going to move on to the strikers as well, and we may as well talk about the big one. You can probably see the tick. Actually, speaking of the tick, that's going across the tick at the bottom at the moment. Dwight Gayle is quite clearly the most impressive spell. 15 goals this season, which is really impressive. Look at that. 15 goals, 25 appearances. Some of them are substitute as well. Impressive 6 assists. I think Dwight Gayle is really, really good at the Championship. We know this already. I mean, you got, 24 goals in 29-30 games for us when we came up. We missed him when he was injured, of course, because we were relying on Murphy to play up front for us. But it's one of those, he's 28 now, is his future at the club. I don't think so. I don't think, right, I know Dwight Gill's banging in the goals. Now, it's quite similar to Murphy, what I was saying earlier on, is that if West Brom do come up in an ideal world, you want that swap to happen. You want Rondon to be swapped with Gayle, and I'll probably pay a little bit more extra money to get Rondon and swap Gayle at the same time as well. Can you recall Dwight Gayle, please? I want us to go up, and West Brom are right behind us, Jordan. Jordan's not a Toon fan, obviously. Dwight Gayle, sell him. West Brom, keep him. We should keep Rondon. Yeah. Let's get ready to Rondon. Let's get ready to Rondon. Get ready, get steady, and Rondon. Everybody Rondon. Right. Great song that. That was great at Wembley. Everybody singing that. But yeah, I know last season with Kennedy, everybody was like, "You've got to sign him. You've got to sign him. You've got to sign him. Be careful what you wish for." But for me, there's something a bit different with Rondon because he's more experienced. He's been around. He's played in La Liga. He's played in the Premier League as well. Good age now. I was really surprised with Rondon how strong he is. I knew he was a strong player, but he's possibly the strongest player that I've seen since Shearer. Don't think he's nowhere near as good as Shearer. Don't get me wrong. But if someone offered Dwight Gayle right now for Rondon, I'm taking that deal, and I'll probably pay 5 to 10 million extra to get Rondon. I really, really would. I really would. West Brom, the Baggies, will probably accept that and probably say, yeah, we'll sign Dwight Gayle on a permanent deal. You know, Newcastle, of course, let's not kill ourselves at the moment. You would rather have Dwight Gayle than Hostler on the bench, but then Rondon might not other be here either. Let's have a look at what you're saying in the live chat. Rondon stays, Gayle is still worth a bit. Is he? He's 28. He's only a year younger than Rondon. Jordan says, I'm a Toon fan. Brother lives just outside Newcastle. I've been to a few derby games up there. Always shout for Newcastle over Sunday. Nice one, Jordan. Kennedy wants to leave Newcastle. He hates the club now, says Harry. I wouldn't sign Kennedy. It's just a shadow of his former self as well. Kennedy's the wrong position most of the time. And not to is a good defender. Yeah, we know that. Last season was look, you can't say Kennedy was a fluke because over a long period, surely Liam, he played like 13 games. Really, I think it could be like a Murphy confidence thing. The thing I don't like about Kennedy is he wants to do too much on the ball, and I don't like it when he shields the ball off. It looks like he's squatting, doesn't it? So I rate Gayle. Says Edward, sorry I couldn't see the screen there. I think we're good with Rondon up top. So I wouldn't bother with Gayle. I'd do the swap me. Hostler with Gayle, well that's easy. You'll pick Gayle, of course you would, but that would mean West Brom will want to hang on to that. They'll not let Rondon go. They'll want that to do. But you know, Dwight Gayle, as I say, in this division, is banging the goals, and look at that 15. He could possibly get 25 quite easily by the end of the season. I reckon so if he stays fit and if he scores goals. West Brom have got a serious shout of coming up at the minimum through the playoffs, and now they've got Jacob Murphy, who'll be good on that. You know, West Brom is a good outside bet if you're a betting person to get the Baggies boing back up. It's a good shout. I think Dwight Gayle is fantastic at this level. He's probably the best, if not one of the best strikers at this level for scoring goals. Because if Dwight Gayle plays 10 seasons at this level, he's guaranteed to score 250 goals for me. What's on average 25 a year? Don't say why not for me. And the final two is we're going to move back to one of the under 23s. He's actually come back to Newcastle. So he's not technically out on loan, but this fella, which is Luke Charman, has come back to the under 23s. He's now the main figurehead. He scored 2 goals in the last 3 games, not including tonight. So Charman, he didn't get any games at Accrington. Another one of these lads that went out to Accrington, and he only played the cup games. That was it. 4 appearances, 1 assist, 0 goals. Didn't kick a ball in the league. And now he's back in replace of Sorensen as our striker as the under 23s. This is a difficult one because we've seen it with Jimmy Holmes in the past. Another local lad. Went out on loan to League One side, couldn't get in even in the squad. It's a tough one for me. You probably need maybe a season out on loan, maybe a bit lower as well. So I don't know if Charman. I would probably loan him out to a lower team, maybe conference, and maybe League Two with a push. But if he doesn't progress there, I think his future's away from the club. I really do, because he should have really, really impressed Accrington maybe that's his level too far as well. So that is a shame for the lad. He's back. Hope he gets his confidence back, starts banging in the goals. Because let's face it, we want local lads to do well at Newcastle. Of course we do. But for me, he's got to start scoring goals and maybe get a loan out for me. Send him in non-league, says Jordan. Send him to the Heat. Yeah, Jordy's good shout. Get him at Gateshead. Gayle gives you something more. Pace opens lanes. He does. But if West going back to Gayle, if West Brom West I can't say now. If the baggies West Brom say we're not letting you have Rondon because of Gayle, fine, swap him. Didn't care about Gayle. Get Rondon signed. And I would love it if we signed Rondon. I think all of us at Newcastle Fans TV. Kyle's got a fetish for him. Ask Kyle about him. Kyle's got a photograph when he goes to bed of him. He's got him framed next to his pillar. That says it all. So the final man is this fella, the Danish Geordie, Elias Sorensen. Now, he obviously hasn't made any first team appearances this year for Newcastle. He's very, very close. I think he would have when we played Blackburn, but of course he went away with the Danish under-21 side, scored on his debut for Denmark, scored again in the next game for the under-21s, signed a contract extension recently in January, and I think he would have made his debut. However, he's gone out on loan to Blackpool. He's been blitzing the under-23s. He's probably the biggest prospect to come out the under-23s, probably in recent times, probably since Adam Armstrong. And we know what happened to Adam Armstrong now. He's not at the club, but Sorensen's definitely got potential. And look, with Sorensen, he's not the type of player that's going to go past 2 or 3 players and bend the top corner. He's not that type of player. He doesn't receive much. He doesn't see much of the ball. He's always poaching around the box. He's a proper poacher. That's the way I like him. But he can also run at you as well. 19 goals in the under-23s for the first half of the season is phenomenal, considering Sorensen come up from the under-18s last year, and that's a massive jump to go to the under-23s because you're playing against school kids and then you're playing against reserves who are almost on the fringes of the first team, and now he's gone out to look. I know Blackpool have a lot of problems with the Oystons and so on. Put that aside for 1 minute. He's playing league football and hopefully, for me, gets 5 to 6 goals for the end of the season. You know, Paul Brayson, God, I remember him, blooming hell, that's gone back to 95-96 season, isn't it? The younger fans will not remember Paul Brayson, the young lad. He's still playing football, believe it or not. Still going at 40-41, isn't he? Honestly, my first move on Football Manager to sign this man for a career-long contract, that's Callum. Next season needs a loan move to a team like Rotherham. Well, this is it with Sorensen, because if you look at Newcastle, I think we'll do the deal with Rondon. I think that'll happen. That's Gayle out the door. Hosselu, we've only got 2 strikers. I know Almiron's in the 10, etc. But for me, I don't think he'll get above Hosselu as much as we hate Hosselu and he's not great. But with Sorensen, I would have him as third choice because, let's face it, Rafa's never going to whether Rafa's here or not, he's never going to play more than one up top. We know this. So I would have Sorensen make the odd appearance here and there and make him train with the first team. That's the important thing. Get him amongst the first team. You can see what I've done with Sean Longstaff. Get him amongst that first team. Get him to play a couple of games here and there. Very, very excited with him. But as I've seen down the years, you look at obviously Andy Carroll, you look at Adam Campbell, you look at Armstrong, Paul Brayson, who's just been mentioned as well. Paul Robinson's another one down the years. And now Sorensen's here. Very excited for him. But I would like to see him go with the first team, get him called up, and, you know, maybe Victor Fernandez is another one on this list, so I highly rate. He's been injured the majority of the season. He replied to our Instagram just a couple of weeks back saying he's almost back. So he's another one. He's really exciting. Victor Fernandez, the winger. He can go past players as well. I've really missed him, seeing the excitement as well. And yeah, what do you make of this list? There's a couple of them who you're probably excited by. A lot of them you probably want to get rid of. So if you just go through that list very, very slowly. So you've got Sterry, you've got Yarney, you've got Gibson, you've got Ashraf Lazar, you've got Jacob Murphy out on loan at the moment, you've got Dan Barlaser, Jack Colback, you've got Henri Saivet, you've got Rolando Aarons, you've got Cal Roberts, you've got Dwight Gayle, Luke Sharman's obviously come back, and then you've got Sorensen as well. So we've covered 13 players, but 12 of them out on loan as well. Did you like the photos? How we've done this? That took us some while to get learning. There's a lot more things that we're going to be doing with streams. We're going to get them more and more involved. And we've been playing around with the live streams as well. There's a lot of things that are going to be happening. As I say, when we done the channel update not too long ago, videos are going to go onto Facebook, and soon we'll be streaming live on Facebook and YouTube at the same time as well, doing a lot more videos as well. But that's it. That has been the video. Hope you enjoy the interaction. If you're watching the rerun of this as well, comments down there below. Obviously, the lads will be commenting back very, very shortly. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your night. And the next day or two, I think Nathan's obviously he's in the live chat, wants to do a video on Sean Longstaff, and then we'll start the previews for Wolves at the back end of this week as well. I'm down London on Thursday, so I might get some footage from Sky Sports for the channel. Who knows for you on there. But thanks for watching. Enjoy your night. Get the download on the OneFootball app. Have a good night, everyone.